Brisbane were very, very impressive. But, Joey, going into September, there's a few things to fix in terms of their forward entries.
Yeah, well, they did a lot right, as they always do, the Brisbane Lions. But again, you heard Fags talk about their accuracy. And I know you've touched on the selfishness, and they addressed that. But again, on the weekend, I think they can help themselves have better shots at goal, because 11 goals, 21. But they had 62 entries. They only took 9 uncontested marks inside 50. And I think they are missing out on plenty of layups, or the little tap-in putts, as they might call it. Because I'm going to show some examples, and I could have picked out a whole host where they are getting really good looks coming inside 50 to just pop it for a player to have a set shot for goal and just go back and take your opportunity. But instead, they kick a lot of balls, long points or long to the square. So out of those 21 points, 8 were rushed because of situations where they just blindly wheel. Like that is for a little left footer, just poke it in front of a little player on a lead. That's a set shot 30 metres out, straight in front. But a lot of them have this habit of wanting to go to one-on-ones or wanting to get it to the top of the square. And Rayner is one of the candidates. So there's another. That is a layup. That is an easy kick with no one in front of you all day long. Now, he's still trying to do the right thing. He's still trying to pass it. But they're trying to pass it over the top and get these looks that are making it really difficult for them. So when you take a look at the Brisbane Lions, their percentage of their shots for the year, they are 18th in the competition for their percentage being set shots. So they take more shots on the run or in general play than any other team, because it looks like this. Again, no one in front of Jared Berry. It's an easy little layup, a 20-metre low pass. Yep. And again, trying to do the right thing, but they make it really hard. So when you look at it, and even from that launch pad, Kingy, so that period between 50 and 70 metres where you get good looks, they're 4th in the comp for kicks from there, but they're 15th in turning that into a mark. So I think they can help themselves get much easier looks, and that might help their conversion rather than getting a lot of these long points or a lot of rush behinds.
Yeah, in the last 2 weeks before this game, so they were leading at three-quarter time, Joey, and they got beaten. And going into this game against Essendon, they had them by 46 points three-quarter time, only lost by 20. But there's a bit of a concern in their last quarters in the way they're going about it at the moment.
Well, 1 is a mulligan. 2, you're a little concerned. 3, it's a trend. And now they can say, well, they're up by 40-odd points and they may have switched off. And they might have. But 3 weeks in a row now, and it makes it hard to just flick a switch in a final. So I just got one example. We could have, again, shown a number to make me think, OK, well, what is it with Brisbane in their fourth quarters? Is it fitness? Is it their real desire to want to defend? Or are they just complacent because, particularly on the weekend, they felt they had the game won? Whatever it is, they can't afford to have this. You've got to be able to play out the game anywhere, anytime. So this was the Zach Merrick goal that started at halfback. He got the ball 3 times. Brilliant individual play. But right there, he's surrounded by 3 Brisbane Lions players inside the middle of the Gabba. So just watch the Brisbane players' real desire to want to defend and help their backline. You know, are they really trying to support their mate, or are they thinking, you know what, we're up by 30, it doesn't really matter, and they concede a goal, then all of a sudden it gets within 20 and they start to play a bit better. Just something they've got to be wary of, because you can't flick a switch against the best sides come September.
That's a good point you make.
I have a look at their forward 50. I think Lohman's fast becoming their most dangerous forward. Yeah. And that's ridiculous when you see Rayner down there and Cameron and Bailey, who's a little bit off at the moment. But 5 goals forward the last 2 weeks. And if you look at the last 6 weeks, only Joe's had more forward 50 score involvements than Lohman. I think they've found one here. He's an absolute beauty. It's no secret to them. They knew this was coming. But I think he adds a different dynamic. I hope they give him more responsibility as we go forward and not shuffle him to the edges as they probably have over the last few weeks. Well, mine's regarding Luke Beveridge, and I think that he's been the harshest assessed coach for quite some time. There's a guy that took this club to a grand final, 65 games ago. And to be in the position where he was, you know, mid-year or earlier in the season where people were calling for his job, they were questioning every decision that he was making regarding selection, other players motivated, is this guy the man, does he still have it? Too much going on off field, he doesn't get along with this guy, you know what, he put it all to bed today. And we were having a laugh upstairs. And I think there's a great line from the Jerry Maguire movie. You're loving me now, Jerry. The Dogs fans are loving him now. Because I tell you what he does do. He inspires and he motivates. He provides method and really simple and obvious plans for guys. We'll get to the specifics of today's game later on. But what if he beats the Hawks next week? What happens then? I mean, I've heard so many positives about Sam Mitchell and how Hawthorn are playing and what they're doing. And I think it allows the Dogs to just sneak in under the radar again, as they've always done. He's a short prep guy. I think that he likes to stay off Broadway until it gets serious. Now, this is by the finest of margins. And they dropped a couple of games late they didn't want to drop. But I just think they're humming. And I was leaving the ground today at Mars Stadium. Sometimes you've just got to understand what it does to people. And there was a father and a son leaving the Footy, and this young fella would have been 8 or 10 years of age, and he was just so proud of what was going on. And I was just going 1k an hour. It's another story, leaving Marvel Stadium. And he just said, his name was Henry Coots. And he just said, look, can you show some Marcus Bontempelli tonight? And I said, for you, young fella, we'll give you a shout-out and we'll show some Marcus Bontempelli later on. Because what it did to this young fella, it just put the biggest smile on his face, and I thought, this is what it does to people, and they're there. And largely because of Luke Beveridge.
Yep, it's a fair point. He could leapfrog a lot to Coach of the Year, the way he's turned this football club around. The Hawks secured their finals position with a 124-point win. We won't mention the war there, Kingy, against North Melbourne, but... another disappointing result for North. It was a big result in the wet, considering they brought the game forward and everything that was happening there. But the Wizard, your man, you've been on the Wizard. You said he was going to light it up, and he did so. John Newcomb, plenty of it. The McDonald forward, it was phenomenal the way the energy they brought, and it was all their smalls.
Yeah, small ball. You just wonder how far it can go. It's so exciting to watch when it works. In the wet, as you said, it probably suited them. But 4 goals, 3 to Moore, 3 to McDonald, 3-2 to Watson, 2 to Ginnivan, 2 to Bruce. 14 goals between the 5 small. Just ridiculous, Joey. They've kicked 124 for the year between them. I mean, that is just an unbelievable number. I'm excited by it. I don't know whether they're absolutely there. I hope they are. Big opportunity, really big opportunity when you look at the way the finals could unfold for them. But this is so exciting. Sam Mitchell's done a wonderful job, particularly forward half, to allow these guys to be themselves.
You just wonder whether the small ball is the modern game. We speak a lot about how important these half forwards are for both your defence and your offensive transition. They've got 4, and then they've got Luke Bruce coming on as a sub, as the 5th of them. They can all get involved, pick your poison. They can all cut you up, and I think it can take them a long way. The Dogs are going to have their hands full trying to defend these small forwards in a couple of weeks' time.
There's some big results.
Good forward line, and they were well and truly. They were 5 goals up against the Giants there in the 2-point loss. So those numbers are huge, aren't they?
Well, what about the Brownlow thriller we've got coming up? Paddy Cripps, there's not much more he could have done in a season. His numbers are elite. They're better than his Brownlow year. And he is just phenomenal. He said at least the last month, get on my back and I'll drag you over the line any way I can.
Oh, yeah. He was phenomenal, particularly in this third quarter when the game was up for grabs. He was enormous. The 12 disposals, 4 clearances. He was doing ruck work. He was the target inside 50. He was doing everything. And to be fair, watching it, and he broke Liam Stocker. Liam Stocker had the tag and couldn't go with him. But in the end, he ran out of gas because he put so much effort into that third quarter. The fourth quarter, he couldn't go with it. He only had 4 touches and 1 clearance. Jack Steele was moved on to him. And in the end, it wasn't quite enough. But, yeah, you talk about the Brownlow. King, you mentioned it, I think, the other week on the preview crack. It's going to be the last 2 rounds of the year. It's going to be that leaderboard you feel is going to be phenomenal. You'd think there's 4 players there that might all get the 3 votes, and that's going to set up for a cracking finish.
Bot just might get the 2 today. He had the little red-headed Eddie Richards. I'm not sure the red-headeds vote. Do they vote, or is it just blonde?
Well, not since Brad Hardy have they been getting
votes.
Since
Brad Hardy. That's a long while ago.
Acca.
Well, what's Acca? We're not sure. But I think when you look at Carlton today, though, Joey, I just want to say the lineup that they go into round 1 of the finals will be completely different to what we saw today. And I think they've built some real heart. Yeah. In the last 2 weeks, the way they've had to collectively come together and play role and execute and lean on their leaders, if they can carry that forward and improve the magnets and get some better talent, who knows? That'll be a scary proposition, playing with house money now. Yep. Shouldn't be there, fell in, bit of Stephen Bradbury about him.